problem. Yeah.
So hi
Pittsburgh.
everyone. It's great to have you here. For those of you who doesn't know me, my name is Ophir Guttelson. I'm from UnXeptable, one of the co-founders. And just a quick, for those who doesn't know what is UnXeptable, UnXeptable is a grassroots movement of Israeli expat-led, now in over 40 cities, chapters in North America. And till October 7, I mean, we were focusing, as you probably all know, about saving Israeli democracy. And since October 7th, we have been, like all the other protest movement, has switched to do a lot of things that is focusing around saving Israel, logistics, flying, putting people on airplanes to Israel, sending equipment, and mostly focusing on helping raising awareness to the hostages situation. We know that we have a role to play in the future, and democracy is still in danger, like anywhere in the world. And for now, we are doing whatever we can to keep everyone together, and to bring you all together, and to talk about what happened on October 7th on the Black Sabbath in Israel. And also to talk about what might be what the future look like. And there is probably no better person to do that with other than Achinoam, which is an optimistic person, and has been a peace activist for so many years. And Achinoam grew up here in the US and moved to Israel. And I'm sure no one needs to introduce Noah as Noah, the singer, the performer. So Achinoam, thank you so much for being here. And I know that you are out every night somewhere else in the country. So I want to start by asking you the tough question. How are you doing?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Ophir and everyone at UnXeptable, thank you for initiating this meeting. Really, I feel so honored and privileged. I don't want to say happy. It's really hard to feel happy nowadays, even though I've had moments of happiness, and I'll tell you about them. But I think everybody really needs to be close right now. We need to feel each other and see each other. We need to hear each other. And that's a sentiment that goes across the board in Israel and abroad, everywhere. Everyone who cares about Israel, the Jewish people, the Israelis. Yeah, we need to hold on to each other right now. And so we're doing that right now virtually. Ma shlomcha, as we say in Hebrew. It's really tough. We ask that question, and one of the answers that I give sometimes is shlomi keshlomcha. I'm the same as you. Or we say kmo ami, like my nation. How are you? I'm like my nation right now. I'm like my country, which means that I'm hurting. I'm hurting. I'm sad. I'm mourning. I'm disturbed. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm sad beyond words. But I'm also, I've got a fighting spirit. I think that many Israelis have just found in themselves an incredible strength in places that they didn't even know they had. They found resources within them to reach out to each other. And so I'll start with that and I'll start with something positive, and that this is one of the most amazing moments, I think, in Israeli history. And I know that these things happen in different places around the world, in countries which experience trauma and experience war or hardship. People come together, they help each other. But I'd like to think maybe it's just wishful thinking, or just because I'm Israeli, that Israel has a particular capacity and propensity for this kind of coming together and working together. A small country that, most unfortunately, from its inception, has suffered so much hardship and war, and we have to work together in order to survive. We really don't really have an option. So, and here we've seen it in an outstanding way. So on the one hand, I'm destroyed. the first 2 weeks, I spent most of the day in tears. I couldn't even control it. And as information came in, and as we became aware of the magnitude of the horror that had occurred, because information came in slowly, it didn't come in one boom. You know, we Israelis were okay. Rockets were coming from Gaza. That's happened before, not to be taken lightly. Of course, people are in danger. People may die, but we were totally unprepared for this. And yeah, I think it'll take Israel years to actually comprehend what has happened to us. So how I'm doing, I've expressed, but I will tell you a little about what I'm actually, how I'm doing. I said, but what I'm doing is more interesting even than how I'm doing. And that you mentioned a moment before, Ophir, that I've just, you know, there different people have different ways of dealing with trauma, with this kind of situation. I need to do things. I can't be sitting around, and I don't become like frozen. It doesn't happen to me personally. It's just my own method. I just have to throw myself into something. I have to be doing. So, like many artists around Israel, I've just started volunteering because obviously all concerts were canceled. We cannot convene in public spaces. There are still bombs being thrown on Israel. There are missiles fired every single day. There are alarms going off. I don't think people are aware. I know there are Israelis here, plenty of Israelis. But for those of you who are not here, I don't know if you are aware how many missiles are being flung on Israel still, with all of the attack on Hamas. So it's mind-boggling. And then in the north from Hezbollah. So it's the South Hamas, North Hezbollah, and, you know, whoa, it's a heyday for all terrorists and horrible haters of Israel right now. So we're there to help people. So we've gone to different kibbutzim around Israel that are hosting the displaced, the survivors. I myself live in Shfaim. I live in a kibbutz, and we are hosting hundreds of survivors from Kfar Aza here. I go there almost every day. Sometimes just walk around and sit next to people and talk to them. Sometimes just hug them, and of course I've attended all the shivas. We've had scores of funerals here in Shfaim. So I do that. Sometimes I go, I put on Facebook, I posted, whoever needs a voice, whoever needs love, come. My hands are open, my arms are open. Just let me know what you need, and I'll try to do it. And then I got hundreds of responses to that, and I started sifting through them, and I started going where I thought I could be of use. And that has really helped me, Ophir. It's helped me to deal. I mean, and those are my moments of happiness, because there we have moments of happiness. We start always with talking about the kidnapped. We sing a song. I sing Yesh Esham, which is a beautiful song, and the audience sings with me, and I wear the yellow band. In fact, I should have worn it now, but it's, yeah, I have them all over the house, but not right here. My yellow ribbon. I start by singing songs that the people can sing with me, because singing together is so important right now. And hello, Heidrun from Germany. Hello. Thank you, everyone who is joining now. And then I start asking people what they need. What do they want to hear? What do they need right now? And then these concerts, they start solemn and they start somber. They always end in great joy. They end with a smile. I always end with life is beautiful, because it is. As long as there's life and there's hope and we're all together, life is beautiful and we're going to make it beautiful. And so I have to say that these performances, sometimes for a really small group of people, sometimes for larger. Yesterday I performed for like 250 people on the grass in a kibbutz next to the Kinneret. It's amazing. Children and older people and every families all together. It was moments of great joy, where music becomes the synergistic healing force.
And when you saw what happened on October 7th on the Black Sabbath, I mean, like you were raging. I saw your videos online, yeah. And like probably all of us, I mean, like we were raging on so many reasons, but mostly was shocked from the atrocities and from the idea that people were kidnapped, from being the massacre, the picture that we have not seen yet. Even what we have seen was terrible. Yeah. I mean, the other side of of those things were the immediate response of the world. And you are a word person. You've been
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah, Ophir. Yeah. So in addition to my concerts, I have become, you see my studio here. This has become a broadcast, a television station, basically, a broadcast. Today I already did 6 Zooms with major TV stations around Europe. Every day. It's what I do all day. I mean, either in the evening I go perform, during the day I do Zooms with major TV outlets in the countries where I'm well known. A lot of Italian television, a lot. Today I did a couple of French channels. Tomorrow morning I'm doing Swiss. I did German and Dutch radio. I do interviews. Yeah, it's like that's my contribution to the war effort, to trying to explain to people in some way, coming from the point of view of a peace activist, but also having been very active, as you know, in the demonstrations to try to topple the horrible Netanyahu government, which was trying to topple Israel's democracy, totally holding them accountable for this catastrophe. They are a very big part of why we reached the place that we're at now, by fracturing Israeli society, weakening Israeli society, weakening our institutions, deliberately weakening our institutions, the behavior of the radical extremist settlement movement in Hawara, and the fact that these soldiers were there and not protecting the Gazan border. We all know that has happened. We all know that's one of the catastrophes that occurred. So yes, that's part of the rage. That's part of the anger. That's part of the things that we're going to have to fix. If it were up to me, we'd be fixing them now. I don't think Netanyahu's government has the right to, for one moment, to be in power. I don't think they have. They've lost that. Any bit of credibility they might have had. For me, it was zero already. But I think that it's encouraging to see that more and more people are understanding that they have totally lost their right to lead Israel. So that's one part. And then on the other hand, you have the horrors of Hamas. The horror, I mean, the pure sheer horror of it. It's something you really have to pinch yourself. What were those people doing? What were they doing exactly? I mean, like you said, the videos came out slowly. And for people like me also, it's really hard to see a lot of that stuff. So I really was very careful at what I was allowing myself to be exposed to. But yeah, at this point, I've seen it all. And there are no words. And then you have the reaction of the world, which was, if it weren't enough already that we had been massacred by Hamas, if it weren't enough that we were being ruled by this bunch of criminals and messianic zealots and racist, homophobic government, then you had the world and you're hearing things from people you loved, or from people you respected and admired, or you thought you did. You thought we were aligned and you realize that something has gone radically wrong in the way people perceive this situation, and probably many other situations. And all of a sudden it becomes clear that the world has gone mad. I mean, that this whole issue with fake news, with conspiracy theories, with TikTok-y conversations of 15 seconds, which do not enable us to understand a complex reality, and all of that, and likes, and the need to be extreme, extravagant, and violent in order to draw attention to yourself. All of those things, which were deliberately sometimes manufactured by your friends in Silicon Valley, Ophir, to get very rich, then those things have backfired, and now we've all gone crazy, and we've all gone nuts. So really, it's a catastrophe. It's a mess, and I've been trying at least to raise my voice and to say, yes, you can be a peace activist, which I will always be. I have not lost my hope in peace for one moment, but still call out Hamas as the terrorist barbarians that they are, and say outright that they are not representing the Palestinian people's well-being in any way. I mean, that complexity seems to be beyond most people at this point, and it's something that needs to be said. I'm not a person that believes in black and white and binary solution. I don't think that exists in the real world. The real world, like the natural world, is a very complex entity, and we're going to have to deal with that. And so for me, the ultimate message is peace. Peace. I really think that if you're going to say something, if you're not going to get deeply into the conflict and understand it, at least stand for peace.
And So one of the things we are seeing here in the, again, as in Silicon Valley and everywhere else in the world, I mean, like it's this type of notion that, I mean, there is a lot of activity around what I call the intercepting social media post that is obviously shouldn't be there. They are anti-Semite, they are pro-Hamas, but I mean, like 10 years from now, those people that are now posting or not really understanding, they will be part of, they won't be students anymore. They might be politicians, they might be leaders, they might be other stuff. How do we take it in the sense of like education? So intercepting social media is almost like Iron Dome, right? It's just delaying the problem, right? It's just kind of like intercepting missiles. I mean, like in many ways, but it doesn't change the reality. What I mean, as you've been doing it for many years, I mean, like, but somehow we wasn't able to reach out to Gen Z, or we wasn't able to reach out to differentiate between freedom and the end of occupation and peace. To many of my friends, I mean, like sometimes I say like we were moving from peace process to anti-occupation, right? Messaging. So what do you see in your mind, education wise, going forward, being done in this area?
Well, first of all, there are a lot of comments coming in, and it's a bit difficult to get them all in.
Yeah, we will go over. So we will take questions.
We'll
We
take
will
questions
sift
later
through
on,
them.
guys. If you have something you really want to contribute them, keep it and let's talk about it. I did see J Street mentioned here. I'm a big supporter of J Street, and I think that their message of 2 states for 2 people, for me, it is the clear. I mean, if I had to really, hone it down to one statement, it would be 2 states for 2 people. For me, that summarizes it. If it's 1 state from the river to the sea, whose state? Which state? Who are you kicking out? Or do you think that everybody can be one happy family? I don't believe in that. There's no such thing. I mean, people need their identity. They need their self-determination, and we can be friends, but we need our independence, both of us. So 2 states for 2 people for me is the way to go, and should be said again and again and again. To your question about education, I mean, for me, first of all, it's not ignoring the complexity of it. It needs to be talked about. I think that standing, trying to simplify a not simple issue is just not going to work. At the end, it's going to backfire. I think that people building walls around themselves and going into their fortresses and becoming very, very protective about their ideas, I mean, that never worked, and it's not going to work. One of the things that I've been saying for many years, and I must say that has been really difficult for people to handle, is that you can be very pro-Israeli and also be very critical of the Israeli government when that government is doing things that are not aligned with the values that Israel was founded upon and that you as a human being hold dear. I mean, the fact that it's Israel and we love Israel, I live in Israel, I'm an Israeli citizen, and my son has finished the army and he's now in reserves duty. My daughter finished Shnat Shirut, which is a year of service that she did, a very challenging and amazing giving. She gave of herself in an incredible way. And she's going to the army now in 2 weeks to Kravi, which means she's going to be in combat unit, my little girl, yes, now at this time. And I am a leftist working for peace and a peace activist. Is that something you can understand? Well, you got to understand it, because that's the way it is here in this country, right? And I can be on the one hand a Zionist and a patriot, and yet very critical of a government that I think is destroying my country. So yes, it's not black and white, it's not binary. And for Jews, the Jewish communities around the world for many years, it has been. I mean, it's been something, you either stand with us or you're against us. No, it doesn't work like that. I can say I'm against Hamas, but I'm not against the Palestinian people and their right for self-definition in a state of their own. I'm against extremists, but I think there are moderates out there that we can talk to. I love the state of Israel, but I cannot stand Smotrich or Ben-Gvir or Netanyahu, and I think that they're destroying Israel. So yeah, is that a little bit difficult to handle? Yeah, it's difficult to handle, but you got to deal with it. Life is not a black and white situation. So having that conversation is very, very important, I think. Shedding light, saying what we do believe in. But we do believe, not just targeting the bad guys, but putting out positive messages. For example, I try to share, I like an organization called Standing Together, Omdim Yachad, that work in Israel. They do amazing work. I try to share their posts and their videos. There's an organization that I've for years have been associated with, the Parent Circle Family Forum. For example, one of the things that for me has been horrendous in Israel over the years is how many people object to this forum. These are bereaved families, Israelis and Palestinians, paid the highest price for this conflict. They've lost their children, their brothers, their fathers, their sons and daughters, and yet rather than choosing vengeance, they choose to work together to stop the war. What is the problem with that? It's beyond me. So they've been demonized that these are terrorists. These are terrorists. But no, they're not terrorists. These are people who are mourning and grieving and want to see peace come so nobody is in their situation. So if you have these kind of things, put them forward. And more people need to do that. That's the only way, in my opinion. If you cannot have a decent conversation, a complex conversation, if you cannot show the diversity of it all, if you cannot throw a vision out for the future, what is your vision? I always say that when I have a political conversation with somebody. Say, okay, I'm going with you. What's your vision for the future? Where do you see us going? Tell me how my life and the life of my children will look in 10, 15, 20 years. Give it to me. I'll tell you what my vision is. And this is this is my vision, this is where I'm going, and this is how I think I can achieve it. And I'm willing to risk, because everything demands is a risk. Every way you take is a risk. So I think that is what needs to be done, if I could suggest.
And I would like to take the conversation back a little bit to what's happening right now in Israel. We're seeing a massive amount of solidarity.
Yes.
Everyone working together. I mean, Haredi, Orthodox, Jews, Arabs, Bedouin, fighting together, saving life together. And that solidarity is definitely a ray of hope. It almost feels like from these ashes we will rebuild. And we are also seeing a lot of solidarity in the US. And this solidarity was kind of like in the situation was, I would say, undermined by, I mean, before October 7th, we heard people about saying like, oh, though you cannot say anything about Israel in one hand, or it's not up to, we saw government people like Shikli saying like, it's not your mind your own problem, don't mind our problem. So let's talk about the solidarity in Israel. Let's talk about the solidarity in the Jewish community that was amazingly joined the effort, and how do we combine them together post October 7th?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the solidarity is beautiful, and yes, hopefully, at least the conversations that are being had, seeing each other, because we sort of stopped seeing each other in this country. Now we have seen each other. We've seen each other on the battlefield. We've seen each other as we volunteer together, shoulder to shoulder. We've met each other in the most difficult places, and that is something that is beautiful and inspiring. Yes. Having said that, we have to understand that doesn't mean that everybody, I see their posters everywhere. There's no right, there's no left. We're all brothers. We're all sisters. I'm okay with that to a certain point. At the end, we will have to have the very, very serious and difficult conversation of where this country is going. Where this country is going to go. Now that we've suffered this enormous tragedy, what are we going to do? Or where are we going? Now, before I go on to that, I want to say that I saw some people asking about volunteering. I think that if you're in Israel, one of the things you can really try to do is look at all the agricultural volunteering that is needed. There are many, many farmers and people out there who need working hands. As you know, many of the workers that were here, well, many of them from the South were kidnapped or killed. It's horrible to say, but that's what happened, or just escaped Israel. Now we need working hands, and some of the things are very simple. You don't need to work in the sun from morning to night. There are things that are happening in greenhouses and that are more even for older people, because I saw somebody asking that question. And their brothers in arms, as you know, have an incredible operation going on for volunteering here in Israel. You can go onto their website and see what they're doing. Wow, you can do everything from actually physically donating money, clothes, objects. You can come and work. You can come and give of yourself. You can send money. There's so many things. So I also highly recommend checking out Brothers in Arms. So having said everything that I'm saying, yes, we're going to have the serious conversation about where this country is going. It's not going to be easy. For me, the first thing is to totally get rid of this government. They should all resign. If it were up to me, they should all go on trial. And just we should be rid of them. They should be in the trash heap of history, the whole motley crew. Okay. We need responsible people, clean of hands, honest, that actually are dedicated to the well-being of this country. That is the kind of leadership we need. Do people like that exist? There are some people within the political system that I could highlight as strong, good, and true, and there are also people that we have not yet met that I am praying will step up and present themselves as potential leaders for this country. I mean, definitely in the protest movement to save Israel's democracy, we saw some incredible human beings, and I'm sure that they exist in different places in Israeli society. They need to be empowered. They need to be empowered. And once we have rid ourselves of the poison, and I'm not underestimating the poison of Netanyahu, this man has poisoned our political system. It's become so poisoned and so toxic that decent people just don't want to get close to it. No, we have to detox our political system. We have to make it attractive to decent people that will come and take this country to a new place. And that is one thing that hopefully will emerge once we've rid ourselves of Netanyahu and all the crazies that he's surrounded himself when he goes on trial and maybe to jail or wherever, but not in ruling this country. So that's one thing. And as for the diaspora community, I see Israel. Israel is the love child of the Jewish people. That's what it is. Israel was established as and thanks to the Jewish people in diaspora. You could look at it maybe in some way, if this appeals to you, as a company that we all have stock in. Every single Jew in the world has stock in the thing called Israel. That's just the way it is. And then there's some people that are, we have the CEO and the board and all those people, those of us that live here, we are here, we're taking care of business, we're doing it. So yes, we are all connected in this thing called Israel. Some more, some less, but we are connected. So I think that every single Jew and every single Israeli abroad has the right to express an opinion, to work, for Israel, to come to Israel, to be involved in Israel's fate and future. I believe that is so. So, with all due respect to some statements being made, you mind your own business. Israel is very easy to accept help from countries in the world when she needs it, and it's in accordance with her whatever strategy she has at the moment, and very quick to throw them off when they don't go with whatever she happens to be doing at the moment. It doesn't really work that way. Either you're part of the human family or the family of nations and happy to accept help when you need it, or you're not, or you're isolated, or you're North Korea. So we don't want to be North Korea. We do want to be part of the family of nations, and definitely where the Jewish people and Jewish communities are involved. So I see us as one people, and I see the state of Israel as a unique and spectacular entity that has revived the Hebrew language, the Jewish culture, and can and should live at peace with its neighbors. That is the security plan for Israel. Security plan for Israel, peace. Not more bombs, not more F-16s. I'm not dismantling the IDF. It's very important that we have it, and should be strong, and it should be well equipped, and it should be true, and it should be there for every citizen, not only for the settlers, but for every citizen in Israel. Yes, it should be what it was meant to be, not an occupation army, not an arrogant army, but a real army to protect Israel's borders, to protect Israel. At the same time, Israel needs to do everything to achieve peace with its neighbors. Like Rabin said, we fight terror as if there's no peace process. We make peace as if there's no terror. That is what Israel needs to be doing. And Israel has an opportunity now, off the horror that it has experienced, from the ashes, like the phoenix, Israel needs to rise, spread its wings, and go into a future of peace. That is the only way that we can exist as a country, because otherwise we'll leave. People that can will leave this country. They will not stay here, knowing that their children are destined to bloodshed for eternity, knowing that there's no security, no safety, no possibility to build a family, to build a business, to live in prosperity, to live a decent life. Why would anybody that has the some other option, and many Israelis do, stay here? No, we want this country to be attractive to our children. We want it to be strong. We want it to live in peace. That is the strategy, and that is what needs to happen, in my opinion.
Wow, that's uplifting. Achinoam,
Yes, my dear.
I want to ask you about the hostage situation. And there is
Unacceptable.
questions.
My one word is, it's unacceptable. Like your name. It is unacceptable that 240 innocent people are sitting in Hamas cellars. What is that? You know, I was involved with the Gilad Shalit when he was one soldier was captured in the entire state of Israel was up and out. I was there singing every day. We had projects, we had songs. I used to sit in the tent with the family. There was, they were fasting or starving. There was the whole thing, a hunger strike. I was part of that. One guy. Now we have 240 innocent people, not a soldier. Not that I want a soldier to be captured. Everyone should be returned. But you have a 9-month-old baby. You have 4-year-olds. You have elderly. Not to mention the amount of peace activists you have there, but it doesn't really matter. You have people, human beings there. That dance party, I mean, we didn't even talk about that. That dance party where the kids were massacred and taken, I mean, come on. And the Israeli government is not bringing them back immediately? What excuse could they possibly have? I don't want to even hear an excuse. First of all, you have to be talking to these people. Every day, you have to be giving them something to hold on to. You have to be making every effort, and they have to know that you're making every effort. There's a community. How can it be that 2 American citizens were immediately brought home and the rest of them are still there? I mean, come on. It means it's doable, right? It's doable this way or that. You got to do it. And that's just another one of the many, many, many unforgivable failures of this government in regard to the contract between a government and its citizens, to a country and its citizens, the basic covenant between a government and the people who live here. So yes, they immediately should be brought back, immediately.
So in that regard, I mean, like there is a lot of activities happening around the world by Israelis, by non-Israelis, and I mean, and there is a question that is always being raised about what else can be done in this regard. Any thoughts about that?
It's so frustrating. I don't want to think what I would do if I were one of these families. I'd probably do what some of them are doing. I would go on a hunger strike. I would chain myself to the Knesset. I don't know. I would do something radical. My sister-in-law, by the way, I saw she lives in Los Angeles, Shara, wonderful woman. And she, as many are calling the Red Cross, are making calls. We're sending letters to the Red Cross. I mean, that's a small thing, but it's an important thing. And if mass amount of people do it, maybe you have to write letters to your elected officials saying this is unacceptable. We demand you to raise your voice. You can, I mean, again, bombard all these institutions, the United Nations, the Red Cross, whoever can do something. Make sure that they know if you have access to media outlets, if you have any kind of influence, make sure they're talking about it. Make sure the conversation is had. Make sure it's there. Change your whatever, your Facebook thingy, your picture, make sure that it's I changed the back, I don't know what the word is, bring them home now, your icon, your tag, whatever it's called. Anyway, yeah. I'm saying it could be something small, it could be something big, but make sure that they are not forgotten. And as I said, if I were a parent, I would be chaining myself physically to the Knesset. I would go on a hunger strike. They'd have to take me out in a casket until my child was brought home. It's completely unacceptable right now. Whoever they have to let go of whatever prison, all right? They should let them all go and bring the kids back and then do whatever. You have a strategy, but what has this to do with these innocent people? Bring them home now and then go on with whatever it is you need to be doing.
I mean, we are hearing this, I mean, and that brings us to a lot of questions that is related to a humanitarian effort. I mean, like, obviously, I think that all of us here, without any questions, are mourning all the innocent people that are being taken everywhere. And that's not removing a centimeter or a millimeter from the horror that the Hamas did, and the terror organization that they are, and the oppression that they are doing on their own people. Yeah. I mean, there is this question that we keep asking ourselves, like, about, and I don't know if you have a good answer for that, about this. When you talk So it's been like 31 days since Hamas terror attack, and obviously now there is a lot of discussion about what's happening in Gaza, and the time that we are buying in a way to remove Hamas. As I see it, like we are doing a lot of the dirty work of the world.
Yeah, we
right?
are.
To help people to help the Gazans get rid of Hamas and get the
Yeah.
world get rid of Hamas. But how do you balance? Or how do you answer, or when you need to focus on humanitarian effort, comparing to the need of remove of Hamas? It's so
No,
difficult.
that's a really tough question. I don't think that any of us have a clear answer. Put it out right. I mean, I would, if I had a way to make sure that no innocent civilian in Gaza were hurt, I wish I had that superpower. You know, like we're kids, we want to be Superman, we want to have superpowers, we want fire to come out of our fingers and light to shine out of, we want to read everybody's thoughts, we want to be, you know, superheroes. If I were that superhero, I would remove every single innocent Gazan, put them aside, and get rid of the Hamas terrorists, you know, would strangle them with my own hands. I wish I could do that. I mean, that is my deepest inner wish. Do I understand how exactly that can be done? No. It's clear that we cannot enable Hamas to continue the way that they are. They can't be shooting missiles at us everywhere. They can't be kidnapping our kids. They can't be murdering us. No, that's just unacceptable, as we say. It's not going to happen. How are we able to make sure that innocent civilians are not hurt? That is so problematic and difficult. I would make every effort, like Israel is doing. I think, I mean, again, I'm not a general in the Israeli army. I want to believe, I really want to believe, I have to believe that my army is doing everything possible to ensure that that innocent people are able to escape. You know, today I saw a picture of an Israeli tank protecting a march, like I don't know what the word is, like shayara, or like a whole group of Palestinians who were walking away from the horror, and the Israeli tank is making sure they can get out, and that the Hamasniks are not blocking their escape. Because I mean, it's horrible to think, but I think there's so much evidence already from so many sources, from Israeli intelligence, from American intelligence, from foreign journalists, that Hamas is deliberately trying to have innocent people killed. I've seen them being interviewed that they want martyrs. This is part of their philosophy. This is part of their sickness. They say we will gain our freedom by martyrhood. I heard an interview today. This guy on CNN did this whole reportage, and you can see people from Hamas saying, what nation has gained its independence without sacrificing people? You know, Russia and this and that. We will also sacrifice for them. They are sacrificing their own people's lives for their warped vision of freedom and independence, meaning a massacre of all infidels. I mean, come on. We're up against some pretty disgusting subhuman creatures. And I wish I had a way to eliminate them from the face of the earth and to protect the innocent people. I don't exactly know how that will happen. I hope a ceasefire will be achieved as quickly as possible, but Hamas need to be neutralized in some way, and the hostages need to be brought home.
And we need to remember that there was a ceasefire until October 6th. I mean, one of many. Yeah, I'm going to try and take questions from the audience, and you don't see the questions, Achinoam, because we were kind of like blocking them to send it only to me. So I'm just going to sift through them. I mean, one of the questions that is keep coming up is, how do we answer the left liberal students, or even the universities, or even like adults that are kind of like seeing the situation in such a black and white way. I mean, not even black and white. I don't think that they're even informed.
Yeah, no, it's not black and white. They've lost their mind. Okay, I'll tell you some good things that can be done. Is there a lot of amazing video material being created in Israel and by people who are working with Israel that can be and should be proliferated. Tikva, if you know, Tikva International is some guys to look out for. This Ran Har-Nevo, he's like, wow. And he's a high-tech entrepreneur that was one of the leaders of the the demonstrations, the protest movement against the dictatorship coup. And at the moment, like all of us in the Kaplan movement, overnight, we turned all of our resources, talents, and power into this war effort. And so they produce many incredible videos, and they also share videos. You can look in my feed on Instagram. I've shared some of these. For example, one of the ones that I found to be very, very effective is you see this young guy walking around a park and saying to people, "Do you want to sign this petition for Palestine?" And they say, yeah, man. Okay, but there's like a disclaimer. I just have to read some stuff to you. So, do you agree that every LGTB should be thrown off the building and beheaded? Do you agree? I mean, all kinds of things that clarify what Hamas is standing for, and then all of them say, "No, really, no." So, yeah, the information and the facts need to be brought forth every possible way, through TikTok, through Facebook, through videos, through letters, through posts, through reacting to posts, every possible way. Anyone who has a connection to anybody in the institutions, in these institutions, Harvard, Columbia, I can't even believe that these places that for me were like the mecca of knowledge. And I've spent my whole life being sorry that I didn't go to college, that I made Aliyah before that. I went to the army. I met this guy. I fell in love. I didn't go to college. I was frustrated my entire life. I don't have any degree in anything, only the University of Life and Mother Nature. And now no way. Why would I ever want to go to those creepy institutions with these people who are not able to step down and say, "No, guys, you've got it wrong. You have mixed things up here. It's much more complex than what you think." So yes, use every tool in your power. Use it. The talk is clear. Guys, you can be pro two-state, and that's the guy said, J Street. Two-state solution, Israel alongside Palestine. We don't even have to have an hour conversation. If you don't think that Israel should be alongside Palestine, then that means you are against Israel's existence. Then we have a problem. We do not agree. And you are not standing for the values you purport to stand for. Yes, this conversation needs to be had. It demands effort.
Yeah, it's connected to what I keep looking into. I mean, I think that Sally from Omdim Beyachad was here, and she was saying if you want to be pro-Palestine, you have to be pro-Israeli.
Yeah, exactly.
And she was it got stuck in my head. So I mean, there is a question that came a couple of times about, and I think we covered it a little bit in the beginning, but maybe you can elaborate on that, about the pro-democracy movement future.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, as you said, I mean, when the war will be over, and it's a good question about what is the definition of the war will be over. I got one definition that was saying that it will be over when people are getting back to day. So the reservists are going back, the kids are going. It will be over from the state of mind of Israelis, even though the tanks might stay on ground. Mm-hmm. The question is what is the future? I mean, are we waiting for 3 years until the next election?
No. Stop the car. I want to get off. If Israel waits 3 years to get rid of these creeps, these criminals, these unacceptable human beings which are ruling Israel is finished. In 3 years, they will destroy this country just as badly as Hamas did. It cannot happen. If they are allowed to continue with the dictatorship coup, with their madness, with what the radical settlers are doing in the West Bank, no, that's the end of this country. If the protest movement doesn't get full steam, if it were up to me today, war, no war. That's my opinion. My opinion is that it's never the wrong moment to get Netanyahu in handcuffs out of the government, in handcuffs, to get this whole government to protest. If it were up to me, 1 million people will be standing there and getting them out. They have betrayed Israel in the worst way. They have lost any legitimacy to lead this country. They have to go. Israel needs to go to elections way before 3 years. Hopefully, everything that we've gone through and the way we have discovered each other and the realization that we have to work together in order to revive this country and get it on its feet and move it forward will bring new blood into politics, will bring new energy and power into the political system, and we will have a different horizon. I mean, it just has to happen.
has to happen, and it has to happen in the sense of like I mean, as we also understand immediately. But I mean, there is a question about, again, so what's happening in Israel happening in Israel. Here in the US, I mean, like we also, I mean, there is a lot of focus on anti-Semitism and about being together. And obviously, we had a question that was raised even 10 months ago when we went out to the streets about, is what we are doing is raising the anti-Semitism. Obviously, now we know that everything that is happening in Israel is also influencing our life here very clearly. Now everyone sees that. I mean, and
it makes me feel like I just want to, like, cry when I think of the amount of times that I've said that sentence in Jewish communities, in talks that I've had for the past 25 years. I want to cry when I think about it. I told them, guys, Israel will affect your life. You think you can separate yourself from Israel? No go. Not going to happen. And let me tell you something about anti-Semitism. Okay. Anti-Semitism is a virus. It's an ugly virus, and it exists, and you're not going to be able to get rid of it. What you can do is mitigate it. Just like every virus in the body, you can mitigate it. You can make sure that it is quelled, that it is calmed, or that it is as tiny as possible, so that it does not attack you and kill you. Now, I remember that when we were going towards peace, when Rabin was going towards peace, I was already a well-known singer around the world, right? And I remember the incredible positive feeling that came out of everywhere, of everything, in regard to this peace process. I mean, I was walking around the world like, the queen of the universe. Wow, Israel's making peace and it was wowness. Of course, the only people who were not happy with it were Ben Gvir and his friends and the settlers and the extreme right in Israel, which ended up killing Rabin and killing peace. And for me, as I made in a video, there is a direct line from the 4th of November to the 7th of October. Direct line. The fact that Israel has been wasted so many years distancing herself from peace again and again and again. And I'm not saying it's only Israel. The Palestinians missed many opportunities as well. But I'm Israeli. I have to take care of my side. I care about me. They have to take care about them. Okay? I have to take care about me. Me, I say to my people in my country, you need to reach out to peace. You need to make peace. Peace is your antibiotics against anti-Semitism and against Israel hatred. Peace is the fortitude of Israel, the strength of Israel, the way that for Israel to step forward into the world. It's our armor, not guns and shields and bombs and more tanks and more kids going to the army and learning to kill. No, it is peace that is our stability and our armor and our security. And that, in my opinion, was a big mistake that Israel made over the years, and it cannot continue that way. Israel has to wake up and understand that she has to, like Waze, recalibrate her trajectory towards the future, and that is what I hope will happen. Again, I'm saying you're not going to get rid of anti-Semitism, but there are a lot of things that you can do to push it back into its corner. And I also saw a comment here about extremism, that extremists are always ruining for everybody. That's right. Extremists are a problem. They need to be marginalized in every possible way. That means that moderates need to unite. There need to be new alliances right now. For example, I'm saying I'm Israeli, right? My alliance is to the Israeli people and to the Jewish people, yes. But it is not to the extremists within us who do horrible things that reflect very, very badly on my people and my country. No, I cannot align myself with baby burners. I cannot align myself with pogrom makers, Jewish terrorists. No, they exist, and I will not align myself with them. They will not affect me, my Jewish people, my state of Israel. Same way the Muslim people have to decide. Are you going to let the extremists be your face? Are they your identity? Do they reflect your religion? Islam is not a religion of hatred in the way that it is interpreted by the grand majority of Muslims around the world. I mean, I've read that many times. I so hope it's true. I can't know it's true anymore, but I don't think it's true. And so extremists everywhere need to be pushed aside. Moderates have to raise their voices and be out there. Too many people think that if they just go about their business, sit in their cafes, do their work, everything will sort of be okay. No, it's not going to be okay. It's only going to be okay if you make it okay, which means if you see that something's wrong, go out and try to make it right. Be there for your society, for your community, volunteer, raise a voice, vote. vote, even the simplest thing like go vote and understand who you're voting for, raise a voice. Because vacuums always fill up with somebody. Somebody's going to be ready there to fill that vacuum with something that may be very, very detrimental and destructive and hurtful to you, the way you live and the way you want to live. So I think it's a call to action to all moderates around the world. Go out there, make your voices heard, and change the world.
Yeah, that's tough. Specifically now, I hear it from a lot of people that are kind of like, where a two-state solution, where peace activists, and they are kind of like stepping back. And as you said, I mean, like I saw a video of Danny, I think, like this math teacher that became like an Hasbara guy, and he was like saying like every time some Hamas terrorist is going and killing someone, they are calling Allahu Akbar, and this is not your religion, Muslim people, right? I mean, you don't want to be attracted to that. I mean,
I've
or
heard that.
connected
I've
to
heard
that.
that so many times. I've heard that so many times already. And it's been, there are a lot of voices being heard right now. We can't even fathom all of them. There's not enough space in our head and in our heart to listen to all the, you have to get away from that sometimes. But I think what you said about everyone stepping back, maybe right now, this moment, right now in time. I mean, it's so painful. It's so tragic. We're all stunned and shocked. Maybe we just need to breathe a little bit and take it all in and make sense of it and help each other and mourn together, grieve together, like the way the title you gave to this talk. We need to grieve together and we need to hold each other. But that will emerge, that will evolve. That must evolve. And from there, we have to grow into a place of activism. I'm speaking to my friends, peace activists. I don't know one peace activist who is now saying, okay, I'm not going to be a peace activist anymore. I don't believe peace is possible. No, on the contrary, only peace, only peace. We have to strengthen our activism. We have to work together with whoever we can work together with and take Israel towards that vision. That's the way I see it. And I know that my circle definitely around me sees it that way. And I'm praying that many people around the world, now that we've seen the horrors of what happens when people let go of the dream of peace, when they recede, when they think that armies can solve the things, when they think that strong men will solve their problems, this is what occurs. And I don't think that anybody really wants that.
So we're almost on time, and the questions are repeating themselves in many ways, and I think we covered most of them. And I want to give the last 5 minutes for Achinoam to summarize. And I would say that for me, I mean, this discussion. I mean, we were at the Shloshim yesterday, and together with the community, and many of us will stand together on the march at the Washington Mall next Tuesday. And if you don't have the information, you can find them on UnXeptable. And we are going to stand there not because we are agreeing with everyone and everything that will be said on the stage or with everyone that is standing there, but I think that as a people, similar to what's happening right now in Israel, there is a moment of time that we need to stand together, and we can still argue a lot now while we are standing together. Not after. I mean, and Achinoam, to your point, I mean, like I would want to just let you know that I mean this type of conversation is something that we're going to keep doing, because we need to make sure that Israel is growing, is getting stronger, the democracy is getting stronger, and I mean, and there is obviously democracy in Israel will be stronger only when we are really focusing on Jewish democratic state. Mm-hmm. And I want to give you the stage for last words.
So, first of all, I want to say that you talked about the march supporting Israel. I'm all for a march supporting Israel, of course. I'm Israeli, and I feel very reassured when I know that I have the support of my people and of the countries of the world. Having said that, I think it is important. It is important to keep an open mind and an open heart to all sides. If you only close yourself into your own fortress, if it's me, and the rest of the world can, like, I don't want to say something we used to say in the Bronx, but it's not a pretty word, then that is not going to bring you finally to the place you want to be. And that is a place of peace and security for your children. I want to summarize this. First of all, I want to say thank you from my part to anyone who took the time to be part of this conversation. Toda rabah. I'd like to say that anybody who wants to continue a conversation with me is welcome to find me on social media and reach out with questions or whatever. I'm on Facebook and Instagram mostly. I don't really do X, but definitely on those others. And you're welcome to send questions or whatever. And if I can, I'll answer them. I can't always, but please stay in touch and be with me. And I'd like to summarize this with a song. I'm not going to be singing in Zoom. It's terrible for music. Sorry for whoever thought there was going to be music. But I did send Ophir a link that hopefully he will share. This song for me says everything that is important for me to finally say. And there's one sentence in it, which is the most important one. And that is, when I cry for both of us. My pain has no name. When I cry to the merciless skies and say, there must be another way. And I think we have to continue believing that we don't have to surrender to a destiny of bloodshed and warfare. We don't have to continue believing that everybody hates us and we have to carry our sword for eternity. No, there is another way. There must be another way. And that way is working together, listening, collaborating, communicating, finding alliances, building bridges. It is possible. It must be possible. We have to do it courageously, with conviction, with emunah. And I think that will finally bring us to where we want to be, to shalom, to peace.
Oh, Achinoam, thank you so much. And thank you everyone who joined us today. We were over 500 people, and there is also a recording that we will share, and it's also live on the UnXeptable Facebook page. There is so many messages that I want to take here and TikTokize it.
Go ahead, go for it.
But we'll see how that we're going to make it happen. And
to
everyone on the call, please stay strong, be safe, be together with others, speak to others, and be the activists that you are. It's important.
Just let me say one thing, Ophir. Just one
Yes.
thing, I forgot to mention that the song you're going to hear at the end, when Ophir's finished giving his beautiful ending speech, is a song that I sang originally with Mira Awad, which is the Palestinian-Israeli singer with which we created the song, and with Gildor. We went to Eurovision in 2009. Millions and millions of people saw an Israeli and a Palestinian representing Israel, 3 languages, and carrying this message of peace. The song is still taught in schools around the world, and the message is as relevant today as it was then.
It is. Again, thank you, everyone. Have a great day. For those of you who are coming next Tuesday to the mall, again, remember, focusing on the role with focusing about Americans standing with Israel, fighting anti-Semitism, and bring them home. This will be the main message, to make sure that we are all not doing everything we can to bring our brothers and sisters back home.
Yes.
Have a great day. Thank you, Achinoam. Bye-bye.